How many of you all have worked on factory shop floors in this? Right. Does work from home work? No. So that is the point. So for me, hybrid and flexibility of work comes from the nature of work you are in. If you are in emergency works like the police or hospital, I don't know if they are talking about hybrid or flexibility at this point of time, right?
People who work, they work from anywhere. And people who don't, they will not even work in office.
Well said.
So for that, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, so long you deliver, I don't care where you are, right?
Essentially, right now also we're still in a remote first policy because we believe that because we've rolled out the policy and we've made it available to folks, we've allowed them to work from whatever location they want to work. So it's not mandatory for people to come into office and work. It's their discretion on whether or not they want to come into office and work. But what we've seen over the past few months post the pandemic is that people like to come together and work. They like working in teams, interaction, the human interaction piece that was missing.
Now connected to all of this is the idea of hybrid and flexi work, which we all learnt about during COVID times. Now this was one of the segments of our survey, and this was also a question, original question in our 2021 survey. Now in 21, respondents had said an emphatic yes to flexi work, hybrid modes, enthusiasm all across the board. Of course, at that time, there was a complaint about the implementation gap and about non-verbal cues going to people who wanted flexi and hybrid work. In 2023, respondents were a lot less sure about the effectiveness of hybrid work. Only 46% agreed that hybrid work does not pose challenges to productivity, cohesion, and discipline. 12% felt that hybrid work is a challenge to productivity, while a large chunk, about 30%, were undivided. So the enthusiasm and the perceived effectiveness of hybrid and flexi work is actually going down if you compare it with the first survey. Ajanta, I'll bring you in here. What is, and also manufacturing as a sector, what is your perception? What has been your journey especially over the past 3 years?
Yeah, so before I go on to the hybrid work, a little bit on the manufacturing sector and where we are in the DEI journey. It's not an easy place, and I kind of say things with a lot of cautious and being very conscious about it. One thing I truly believe, that the organizations are a reflection of the society that we live in. Doesn't matter what we individually think. At the end of the day, large part of the employees come from the society from where they are coming. And that is reflection on the household, their education, their upbringing. Yeah. And hence with the ESG coming in big today, ESG is all about environment, there is also a social and governance part of it. So we as an organization, if we can also reflect back on the society from where we come in and start the change from there. Because organization in isolation doesn't work. Manufacturing, flip it. We are not in the cities. We are in tier 2, tier 3 towns, where with large factory setup, right? Including women there, setting up in the careers where, industry like ours, traditionally, it has been men-driven. And today, while you all may be doing it for the last so many years, I think we are talking about diversity today. Because the industry has grown multifold with the kind of demography that it had. The business numbers came in. It is a very, very successful business. So how do you then slowly seep in the idea of diversity to these very successful business leaders who had led business in a certain way and then seen success, right? So it's a very different kind of story for us. Now coming to hybrid work. How many of you all have worked on factory shop floors in this? Right. Does work from home work? No. So that is the point. It is the kind of work that you are in, and I think everything starts from there. If you're at a factory shop floor, hybrid work doesn't work. Work from home doesn't work. You have to come to your factory every day to get the work done. So work from home goes away. Then in comes the flexible work. Again, 95% of JSW group workforce is at the factories and at our plants. Then there's a shift. Everybody has to come at a designated shift, because if you're not doing that, then the machines won't run, and once you leave, then the next person comes in. So flexibility of work on what we think sitting in Bombay or in corporate office doesn't work. That's the reality for any industry or factory workers or plant workers. So how do we ensure that there is a sense of flexibility and hence discretion of the employees to take time off, to come or be a little bit of flexibility during the shift timings comes in. So for me, hybrid and flexibility of work comes from the nature of work you are in. If you are in emergency works like the police or hospital, I don't know if they are talking about hybrid or flexibility at this point of time, right? So, so against the nature of work, the nature of service, where you are working, and then the whole thing. And again, since you mentioned pandemic, for all of us here who thinks hybrid and flexibility, just think about what was your work situation before pandemic. How did your organization work then? And if your organization worked in a certain way, trust me, it will go back to those days. Yeah, because that was a steady state, and that's the way the organization had seen success, right? Pandemic was an aberration. So that's from me, from the hybrid and flexibility part of it.
Can I add
I
something?
think I'll bring in the panel, absolutely. So go ahead.
Because I have a different perspective, because we come from IT, and when we came up with this whole flexi work and hybrid and work from home, IT probably was the biggest industry that applauded the change, because we felt that, yeah, this is what we want to do. Our company, we changed to a remote first policy when the pandemic came in, and essentially right now also we're still in a remote first policy, because we believe that because we've rolled out the policy and we've made it available to folks, we've allowed them to work from whatever location they want to work. So it's not mandatory for people to come into office and work. It's their discretion on whether or not they want to come into office and work. But what we've seen over the past few months post the pandemic is that people like to come together and work. They like working in teams. Interaction, the human interaction piece that was missing during the 2-year time frame where everybody was working at home and was working remotely, they actually prefer coming into office at least for a day or so, just to be able to see their colleagues, just to be able to have those cooler side conversations. They enjoy that piece of it. They enjoy the camaraderie that comes with it. So I think right now, at least from an IT industry space, we like the hybrid and the flexi work options. We like the remote work, but we still want our offices to still be there for us to be able to come in and do the work that we want to do, especially for women. I think, I feel, I see more women in office now than I saw earlier, because I think they like coming into offices more, because it provides them with that focus. At home, they are a bit more distracted, if I may say so myself. When they're working from home, they prefer the work environment that's in offices. So I see more women in offices now.
May I add? Yeah. So we are doing hybrid. We're working 2 days out of 5. And we moved from a scenario where work from home was considered taboo. I mean, not because we didn't have it. We had work from home pre-COVID as well. But managers were not very comfortable, because it is this whole point of trust is also fundamental when you're working remote, right? So then we moved 100% remote, as did most organizations through the pandemic, and we're back in a hybrid format. But I agree with what Pallavi said, and what you said also, Ajanta, because there are certain roles which need to be performed, or which are performed best when you're in office, which are performed best when you're in a team. We work with a whole range of our clients across FMCG to banking to new age startups, and if we are delivering a project, the team has to sit together. There is a creative process of discussion and follow through that happens, that cannot happen remote. So there are certain mandates around, there are certain advantages of doing that. But a hybrid gives you that psychological comfort that it's okay that, if you're not there. That is from an individual standpoint. From an organizational standpoint, we are facing the challenge that, we take in campus recruits a fair number every year. Now these are freshers, young kids who have no corporate, mostly don't have corporate experience. How are you going to give them, how are you going to inculcate the culture of the organization in them if they are going to be remote? So it is important for them to be physically there, and a lot of development, particularly at a youngster level, happens when you're in office, you're seeing other people work, your behavior gets shaped by what you see. So we are actually kind of playing around with it a little bit. While we're not mandating it, we are saying that, if you're a new recruit, it's better for you to come in for at least for the first few weeks, months, etc. So you get the flavor. Training programs are done in person, so you imbibe the spirit of the whole place. And yes, I agree with you also, Pallavi, that people do prefer, because there are less distractions at work, agnostic of gender again. And yeah, so we are playing around with it. There is a benefit of hybrid, but there is a distinct advantage. At the end of the day, we are all social animals. We like interaction. We like physical interaction. We can't sit at home in front of a screen the whole day through. These little water cooler conversations or little asides or little gossips, I mean, they keep us going. So, yeah, they keep us going.
Yeah,
so,
the other day my son made a comment to me saying that for the past 2 years, I felt like you were working in a call center where you had your headphone all the time and you were talking on phone the entire time. And it feels good to see you go out of home and go into the office a lot more than you did earlier.
I think I have gender and generation right at my house. I have 2 daughters. One is a lawyer and one is a chartered accountant. I also work in an industry like yours in construction, and you can't do it from sitting from home.
Right.
So one thing choice that they have made is, unfortunately for people like us, that we will not get into your industry only. So, we would be actually losing out on a whole talent, and that's a big challenge for us on how do we do it. Then they also during COVID, they were at home and then they've gone back. I think what they are asking for is a simple term of flexibility. I think they love their offices. They have, somebody has a structured, one of them has a structured 1 day a week you can be at home. The other one has a very, very flexible, how many ever days. I find both of them, what is their choice when they get up in the morning is to go to work. But they like the fact that they have that flexibility. Yeah, so this younger generation is all about having a choice, When with Swiggy, our lives have been made easy, but choice has become so integral to the generation that it is extremely important for organizations to, and very difficult for industries like her and mine, on, how are we going to then attract this generation.
Yeah, I guess all points are covered. I don't want to repeat, but I think more than having a hybrid policy or remote work, flexibility is important, is what we are actually, we realized. And again, based on all experiences, and we see it day in, day out, people who work, they work from anywhere. And people who don't, they will not even work in office.
Well said.
So, for that, doesn't matter, right? I mean, so long you deliver, I don't care where you are, right? So,
good.
So this is not about work-life balance, it's about work and life, because you can't put them in silos. That's probably and the flexibility, the choice has to rest with all of us, each of us.